This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Winnipeg police have foiled a firearms trafficking ring. They say it's part of a criminal network being led by a 25-year-old convict who is calling the shots from behind bars. Now 7 people have been arrested in connection to the manufacturing and trafficking of 3D guns. CBC's Zubina Ahmed reports.
A 3D printed Glock-style handgun, a 9mm ammunition, a 3D printer, and other tools to assemble and manufacture 3D printed guns. This is what was seized by the Winnipeg police. Inspector Elton Hall says a convicted 3D gun trafficker, Blake Ellison Crate, was calling the shots from behind bars.
He was directing individuals to traffic and to print these guns, and he was actually schooling individuals on how to traffic and how to assemble these firearms.
Hall says Ellison Crate was previously convicted on similar charges last year and sentenced to 12 years in prison.
I've talked to investigators. He's a very unique individual. I think he's got a fascination with firearms.
Police say this investigation started in November after they got a tip that someone was looking for metal components to assemble handguns. In March, police searched 4 residences in Winnipeg. 7 people were arrested and charged, including Ellison Crate. Although only one 3D printed handgun was seized in this investigation, Hall says there are many more out there.
You're talking about 30 or 40. You're talking about multiple people under arrest for this. This is another firearms ring. It's big. It's huge. I mean, this is problematic, and this is what we know.
Hall says Ellison Crate's involvement in the latest gun bust has landed him an additional 10-year sentence, which is already the longest in Canada for firearm trafficking and manufacturing. Zubina Ahmed, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Reports of property crime have become more prominent in one Winnipeg suburb. People in Sage Creek say there's been a sudden increase in theft and break-ins in the area. And as CBC's Mike Arsenault shows you, the community is calling for more police in the neighborhood.
This is the only clue Garrett Wilkinson has about who broke into his garage over the weekend.
You can see that's at about 3:10.
He lives in Sage Creek and says he woke up for work Monday morning and found his garage door and car door wide open.
I was pretty panicked. I looked and I saw that my bike was gone. I saw a couple other equipment, music equipment, tools, toolboxes. So in total about $4,500 worth of lost goods.
Wilkinson says he filed a police report online for stolen goods and went on social media to let others in the area know what happened. When other people started replying to his social media post, he realized he wasn't alone.
People commenting underneath about, hey, I'm on your street, or hey, the other night I had someone tried to break in with posting footage. And actually about 4 days ago, someone had posted about photos of 15 different vehicles with their windows smashed.
Wilkinson says theft and vandalism are becoming more common. Shri Kodiath says his wife woke up and found their Sage Creek garage had also been hit.
Car was open, the door was open, and all the things inside were kind of in a disheveled state. Talked to a couple of our neighbors, and one of our neighbors had a lot of their stuff missing.
CBC reached out to City Councillor Brian Mays. He says he has noticed an increase in reports of vehicle break-ins and theft in his ward. He's been in touch with the Winnipeg Police Service and would like to see an increase in police presence in the area, but says that this issue isn't just isolated to his ward of St. Vital, but it's an issue all over Winnipeg.
The Winnipeg Police Service says there has been a spike in theft in the area.
Theft of tangible products, so valuables from vehicles, valuables from garages, and that's most primarily in the last couple of weeks of July that we've seen that increase.
Wilkinson hopes to see more officers in the community and plans to install security cameras in the short term. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Now to some breaking news. There are evacuations underway on Marcel Colombe First Nation due to a wildfire near the community. The CAO tells CBC News right now they are focusing on getting out children and elders. He says roughly 50 people have left the community as of late this afternoon. Now the mayor of Lynn Lake says his community is preparing to house people who are fleeing. The province says water bombers are responding to a 100-hectare fire that was detected east of the community early this afternoon. The mayor says the town's arena is being prepared and some people have already started to arrive. A vigil is being held tonight for a Winnipeg woman who was killed after being hit by a car earlier this week. Family have identified her as Loretta Green. She was a 32-year-old mother. Green was hit by a car at Notre Dame Avenue and McPhillips Street shortly after midnight on Monday. The vigil is being held tonight near the scene of the crash. Police say the driver did remain on scene. No charges have been laid. People in Flin Flon are mourning the loss of a treasured camp after a fire left it in ruins. Someone passing on a jet ski saw smoke at Camp Whitney just outside of Flin Flon on Sunday. Mounties found the camp's kitchen building engulfed in flames. Conservation officers, firefighters, and a water bomber all worked to keep the fire from spreading. Flin Flon's mayor says many families hold fond memories of the camp that dates back almost 100 years. RCMP say the fire does not appear suspicious. A 33-year-old man was hospitalized with minor injuries after the plane he was flying crashed. It happened Sunday afternoon in a treed area in the RM of Bifrost. Gimli RCMP say a crop dusting plane was spraying a field when one of the wings hit a tree and the plane crashed. The pilot was the sole person on board. The Transportation Safety Board has been notified. A prominent corner in Osborne Village could soon look very different. The City of Winnipeg is looking to sell a parking lot it owns at the corner of Osborne and Stradbrook. But as CBC's Cameron McLean reports, the process has faced years of delays.
Mark Bartling manages the Happy Cooker store at the corner of Osborne and Stradbrook. Every time he looks across the street, he sees this empty, fenced-off parking lot.
Having an eyesore in any shopping district in the City of Winnipeg, you shouldn't have to live with it. They should be able to resolve it.
The City of Winnipeg has owned this parking lot, which used to be a gas station, since 1965. Council voted to declare it surplus in 2020, and it's been fenced off for the better part of 2 years. The city is now in negotiations with a potential buyer, but before it can sell the property, it has to remediate the soil. The city is now looking for a contractor to do that work. With weeds pushing up through the cracks, Bartling wishes the city would speed up the process and let people park on the lot until the sale goes through.
There's a lack of transparency in understanding what is happening. It's just delay, delay, delay without an explanation. So we'd like to know what's going on.
Area Councillor Sherry Rowland says the wait for a provincial environmental assessment caused part of the delay.
What has been a bit of an odyssey for this site is the remediation portion. That's now being contracted out, and hopefully the property then can change hands in short order.
The neighborhood has struggled for years with high turnover and vacant storefronts. Osborne Village Biz Executive Director Zoré Gervais hopes the development on the corner will give the neighborhood a boost.
This is a really highly visible corner of Osborne Village, along with River and Osborne. Stradbrook and Osborne is, the sister street going in the other direction, and people pass through it all the time. So I think it's really important for those corner spots to feel vibrant and to be thriving.
The work to remove the contaminated soil is expected to be finished by the end of November. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Officials at the Calgary Zoo say a playful bite led to the death of one of 2 polar bears sent to that city from Winnipeg last year. 7-year-old Baffin died on Friday while roughhousing with Siku in one of the enclosure's pools. Today, zoo officials say a necropsy has found Siku crushed Baffin's windpipe, causing Baffin to lose consciousness and drown.
We believe this was just very tragically a misplaced grab and a reaction to that underwater.
Black says if the incident had happened on land, Baffin may have survived. The 2 were originally from Churchill, but were orphaned when they were less than a year old. They'd been living at the Assiniboine Park Zoo before being moved to Calgary last year. A bit of a cooler day out there, so if you like those temperatures, enjoy today because the heat is going to return. Ethan Williams is in now for a look at our weather. Ethan?
Well, thanks, Brittany. And some actually below seasonal conditions through southern Manitoba today. At Sprague in the southeast corner, our cool spot, barely getting above 20 degrees. It was actually Churchill and Tadouli Lake sharing the warm spot at 26. Not often we get to say that. And you can still see even in northwestern Ontario sitting in only the upper teens today. But when you factor in a little bit of humidity, we are feeling like right around 30 degrees in parts of southern Manitoba, including the Winnipeg area. Drier air, though, out in northwestern Ontario, only feeling around 20 degrees there today. And that is because that area is under the influence of high pressure, and that has kept skies clear through much of the province today, save for, of course, the smoke that we've been seeing moving in from time to time. We do, though, have a little bit of some cloud cover moving through southern parts of the province today, and some pop-up showers just to the south and west of Winnipeg, and a few rumbles of thunder in there, too. Now, more kind of a westerly flow to our air over the next couple of days means that smoke likely going to continue moving in from Alberta and Saskatchewan, and we could see those skies start to haze over a bit as we get into tomorrow and Thursday. And there's really not going to be much to inhibit that smoke from moving in, because I'll put Futurecast in motion here, and you can see there's really not a whole lot of activity, keeping skies clear for us, which is great. Our next feature that we're going to be watching, though, is this cold front moving through northern Manitoba. I think this will drop temperatures a bit in the north and maybe bring some showers through. But other than that, we're no significant weather coming. Maybe this system moving in from Saskatchewan as we get into Thursday and the first part of Friday. We will see winds pick up a bit, though, especially along the Hudson Bay coast tomorrow, and gusting 40 to 50 in the Winnipeg area and through the Red River Valley as we get into Thursday. But overnight tonight, temperatures going to be quite nice, mid-teens. We're looking for partly cloudy skies, maybe some sprinkles of showers closer to the international border. Clear, though, for the most part in the north, with temperatures in between 10 and 15. Starting sunny tomorrow, temperatures warm, near 20 degrees in some places. There comes the cold front in the north, and look at how quickly that knocks temperatures down, especially around Churchill, as we get some possibility of showers there. Otherwise, mid-20s for you tomorrow, and then looking for a day in the upper teens to begin with tomorrow in southern Manitoba, getting into those upper 20s, feeling over 30 with a little bit of humidity as we get through the day. Good day for a road trip like fall here wants to take. Thanks to Joni for sending in that photo. And of course, you can always send your photos to talkback@cbc.ca. And there you go, getting up to 27 by 4 o'clock tomorrow in Winnipeg. Should be rain-free, but again, Brittany, feeling like 30 with the humidity. And we have some humidity in store for sure in your 7-day forecast. I'll show you that coming up.
Whew, all right, thanks, Ethan. Alberta's famed Jasper National Park is now at the center of the province's wildfire crisis. Evacuation orders for both the park and town came late yesterday. The fire blocked all but one road out, with heavy traffic having to creep through thick smoke. The CBC's Travis McEwen reports.
Margot Bereska and Ian Sheldon feel lucky to be together in their camper with their kids. Margot was in a campground while the rest of the family were in town with her phone when they got the evacuation order.
Bit of a scary drive leaving, you know, because it was very apocalyptic in the sense of a lot of smoke coming in very fast and wondering what was going to happen with them and not having communication.
The town of Jasper has close to 5,000 residents, but this is peak tourism season. There's estimated to be another 20,000 people who were in the area when the evacuation order was issued on Monday night. Many evacuees were sent east to Valemount, British Columbia, as the other two highways were deemed as unsafe. A drive that should take an hour and a half, but many people spent hours in gridlock traffic. Parks Canada says the fire threat remains, and it's now focused on adding more resources to fight the fires, including Alberta's equipment and firefighters. Meanwhile, Jasper residents are left to ponder where to go while they wait out the evacuation order.
Yeah, maybe Walmart tonight, and then maybe find a campsite locally if we can, if they're not all full, and then maybe a friend's driveway if we need to get out away from the highway noise.
Another thing that makes the evacuation of a national park more complex, the presence of backcountry campers. Parks Canada is sending helicopters to designated campsites and trailheads to ensure that campers avoid fire danger. Travis McEwen, CBC News, Hinton.
Just days to go ahead of the Paris Olympic Games, CBC takes you behind the scenes of some of the venues and city landmarks that will take center stage at the World event. Stay with us. The Paris Olympics gets underway this week, and CBC is there. Chief correspondent Adrienne Arsenault is hosting the National from the City of Lights. She got a close-up look at the restoration of one of the great landmarks in Paris. Notre Dame Cathedral was severely damaged by an intense fire 5 years ago, and Adrienne shows us how the rebuild is going.
Take a moment to consider what a rare look this is at a very special place. We're above Paris. You can see the city skyline. There's the Eiffel Tower. But where are we standing exactly? This is the construction site for the restoration of Notre Dame Cathedral. You're looking at the spire right there, that iconic spire that collapsed into the cathedral itself when there was a fire back in 2019. Maybe it was a cigarette, maybe a short circuit. They're still not entirely sure, but a fire broke out on the roof, most of which was destroyed. The enormous iconic spire completely collapsed. So it seemed catastrophic initially beyond repair, but because of the vaulted ceilings, much of the inside survived, including some of the extraordinary stained glass. Some believed that it would be impossible to restore this place. At the very least, it would take some 20 years. But the French president said no. It would be done roughly within 5 years, and so far they're on track to be able to open to the public at the end of 2024. So there is hypervigilance here. That is why we have to wear these outfits on the way in, a full shower on the way out, because of all the lead dust that is being used here. Everything that is happening at Notre Dame Cathedral is an homage to how it was built some 800 years ago. So let's look at this, for example. This is extraordinary. This is La Croix de Chevet. This original cross, when the fire happened, completely collapsed into the debris. But they were able to find it and restore it and put it back up again. All of the roofing that you see, all of the woodwork, it's been a matter of not just sourcing the right wood, but precisely the right trees, the right stones. They are recreating the tools that were used 800 years ago to rebuild this. The hope is that when it opens, the scars of the fire will be invisible to see. You won't be able to see what happened. The fire itself will just become a note in the history books, but hardly the end of the story of the Cathedral of Notre Dame. Adrienne Arsenault, CBC News, above Paris.
Adrienne will have much more on that story tonight on The National. That's at 8 p.m. on CBC News Network and at 10 p.m. wherever you are on CBC Television and CBC Gem. Now, choosing Paris for this year's Olympics brings the Games to a city where famed historic sites are everywhere. And Paris, in choosing the competition venues, is making the most of that history. The CBC's Heather Hiscox reports.
Just look at this place. It's astounding. The Palace of Versailles, one of the greatest achievements in French art and architecture. It started as a humble royal hunting lodge in the late 1700s and grew into more than 2,300 rooms, transformed into one of the grandest palaces in Europe. It was the symbol of the absolute monarchy and the power of the king. One of its most stunning features, this fountain with the famous gilded sculpture of Apollo on his chariot. Apollo, the sun god, the emblem of Louis XIV, the sun king. It's been recently restored to its original resplendence just in time for its latest Versailles transformation into Olympic venue. Down there, see those spectator stands? All of the equestrian events of the Olympics and the modern pentathlon are going to be held there in the gardens. Paris 2024 organizers made the deliberate move to take the Games outside, into public spaces with some of the most iconic French monuments as breathtaking backdrops. In the days to come, you'll see beach volleyball at the base of the Eiffel Tower, archery in front of Hôtel des Invalides and Napoleon's tomb, breaking or breakdancing in the Place de la Concorde, scene of more than 1,000 beheadings during the French Revolution, fencing in Le Grand Palais. In most cases, organizers put in temporary structures, not new venues, to allow them to minimize the environmental impact. But it's also allowing the beauty and the history of Paris to shine and imbuing the Olympic spirit with the spirit of one of the world's great cities. Heather Hiscox, CBC News, Versailles.
CBC live coverage of the opening ceremony of the Olympics begins Friday at noon. The event itself starts at 12:30. Speculation is growing that Celine Dion will perform at the Olympic opening ceremony on Friday. CBC spotted Dion outside the Paris hotel where she's staying today. She's in the city with her son, Rene. Dion signed autographs, posed for selfies, and greeted people in the crowd. She was asked if she was here for the Olympics, but gave no response. If Dion does perform, it won't be the first time. She also sang at the opening of the Atlanta Olympics in 1996. Lady Gaga has also been spotted, leading to even more speculation about Friday's big show. Coming up, a look at your 7-day forecast and when the heat is expected to return. Stay with us.
Well, temperature tomorrow getting up to 26 in Winnipeg, but here's the humidity that I was mentioning earlier, feeling like 40 by the time we end the work week as our daytime highs get up to 30 degrees. Then things clearing out for the weekend. We're still quite warm, hanging around that 30 mark. Still muggy, though, as we get into the beginning of next week with some possible showers and thunderstorms as we get into Tuesday. And keep in mind, Brittany, those overnight lows staying close to 20 degrees, so some uncomfortable days and nights likely ahead.
All right, thanks, Ethan. Well, if heights give you sweaty palms, you should probably look away for a bit. Tonight's Daily Lift takes you way up. Well, daredevils can now fly over the rooftops of downtown Berlin. That's thanks to Europe's highest swing. It's set up on top of a 35-story hotel, a dizzying 120 meters high. The swing offers visitors a chance to buckle up and take in the city from a whole new angle. Plus, there's no additional charge for screaming. You know what? That's going to be a real big no for me. If you're like me and you're petrified of heights, I don't know. I don't even see a seatbelt there. I feel like that's something where you should be buckled in because that looks like a very long way to fall. It's making me a little sweaty just watching it. That is something for you if you're a daredevil, something you can do over in Berlin. A reminder, our Olympics coverage here starts on Friday with those opening ceremonies. Our show will be on at 5 o'clock for half an hour so that you can enjoy all of our Olympics coverage during that time. Thank you so very much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow night.